regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, July 11, 2018, 6 p.m. All rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Mary, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Robinson?
Here.
Commissioner Drum?
Here.
Commissioner Neal?
Here.
Vice Mayor Kemper?
Here.
Mayor Anderson?
Here.
Chair Rubenstein?
Here. All right. It's been a while since I've done this. I went to Alaska, I almost forgot how. Okay, so we're going to open the regular meeting, and I'm going to need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting, June 27, 2018.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of June and July, where am I at here? Okay.
June 27.
June 27, 2018.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Mary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Drum?
Yes.
Commissioner Neal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kemper?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes. Now I need ratification of bills for June and July 2018.
Make a motion to approve the June and July of 2018 bills.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Mary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Drum?
Yes.
Commissioner Neal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kemper?
Here.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes. Okay, on to commission reports. All right, well, I hope everybody was able to enjoy our awesome fireworks display. I think we had a record number of people out there. I could probably ask Chief Hughes, was that a fact?
It was a record.
It was unbelievable, and we certainly got lucky with the weather holding off on any kind of, postponement of the fireworks. So anyway, we wanted to thank everybody for their donations to our fireworks display, and we certainly appreciate every contribution. And thank you to the staff and any of the volunteers. They worked tirelessly both before to set up the event and after for the big cleanup. And pretty much the beach was back to its pristine self the next day. So thank you, all of you. If you haven't heard yet, the credit card machine is up and running. It's been a big hit. And I think the first month alone, we had, 12 or so transactions?
Yes.
And we didn't even advertise that yet, so I'm very excited about that. And people are really, really appreciating the ease of that. As many of you know, Tracy, our deputy clerk, will be leaving Reddington Shores at the end of the month, and we are in the process of finding her replacement and hope to be able to fill her position in a timely manner. If you can get a chance, please stop by and say goodbye to Tracy. I know she would really appreciate it because she will be missed. And I just want to say that our own attorney, Rubenstein, has been selected by Thomas Reuters for inclusion in its 2018 edition of Super Lawyers magazine as a rising star in the field of state, local, and municipal law. And it's quite an honor because there's only one of four attorneys in the state who's been designated as that. So congratulations. And I believe that is all that I have. Vice Mayor Patrick.
Okay, the building department in June was real busy. We had put out 95 permits, total of $30,624. One single-family home, several air conditioning permits, dock permits, and etc. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Neal.
Yes, in the sewers that we're in the process of relining, I just want to put to bed any skeptics. We're relining the sewers. We have hours and hours of video of the flows of these sewer lines, and we know where the leaks are at. We did calculations on the run times of the lift stations in each area. So we know our areas where we have problems, and we know the areas where we have basically, I'm not going to say fix the problems 100%, but reduce the flow. Now we have issues with the bills we're getting from the county. We have a discrepancy between our flow times and our lift stations and with the flow that's being read in the main lift station. So we're going to try to find an independent company to come in and put us a meter in to where we have a system of checks and balances of how much flow is going through, actual flow is coming to the end of our line. I just think that's a good idea. I've had this discussion with a lot of people. And then that way we can find out if we're paying the right rate for our bill or we're overpaying. In the meantime, we'll keep lining our sewers and correcting our problems, and we'll keep checking our flow rates in each individual lift station that we have to make sure that we're helping the problem, and so we're not spending our money for nothing. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Neal. Commissioner Robinson?
Yes, the mayor already mentioned that we had a lot of visitors in town for the 4th of July, and we did for not only the 4th, but for the holiday week. Unfortunately, many of those visitors were either unaware or unwilling to comply with the ordinance that requires all personal property to be removed from the beach within 2 hours after sunset. There were numerous tent frames and chairs and so forth scattered all over the beach, particularly on the south half of town. It's not only unsightly, but it also interferes with nocturnal migration of sea turtles and their nesting as well. So staff did go out and tag offending property and also visited a number of condos to discuss the issue. And I'm pleased to report that the beach is cleaned up from that effort. It does suggest, and we will in the coming weeks and months, have greater outreach to condo associations and property owners on the beach to make sure that they're aware of the ordinance and the need for it and the need for compliance. That and continued enforcement on the part of our ordinance staff here in the town should change behavior for the long term. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Commissioner Braun?
Okay, the library, we have our new child librarian, Kelly Walker. She's been very busy this summer with, of course, the kids and a bunch of different programs. We have a new logo for the library. It's on our website, and if you click on the logo on our website, it will hyperlink you directly to the library's website. They have all kinds of free programs going on right now. It's just check it out. That's all I got.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Chief Burford, I don't know if you want to say anything at all about fire, anything exciting happened. If you don't, that's fine. You're good?
Things are good, safe, nice, safe fireworks.
Anything, Chief Hughes, you're good too? Or would you?
We're going through the same thing with the turtles and the stuff left on the beach. And matter of fact, I just put a police beat newsletter out where we have 2 ordinances and also state law to back it up, keep the things off.
Fine, we just need to get the word out. All right, moving on to old business. Ready? You're ready for you?
No, old business.
Okay. No, do you have everybody here for it? No, not yet. Okay, so we are going to skip the first thing from your old business and move on to the resolution 05-18 amending fiscal year 2017-2018 sewer budget. Attorney Gergensen, please.
Resolution 05-18, a resolution of the Town of Redington Shores, Florida, amending the 2017-2018 annual fiscal year sewer budget.
We need a motion.
I make a motion, we amend the 2017-18 sewer budget.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? This is already in the 5-year-long plan. We're just scooting it around.
We're speeding it around because of the flows. Actually, the area of 176th Avenue where we have the lift station there, the flow counts that we did are extremely high, so we want to move forward with it. And I would consider it really an emergency. So we're running 3 million gallons a month right there.
That's a lot of stuff. I know. All right, so we gotta get, take a vote. Mayor, call the vote.
Commissioner Drum,
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson.
Yes.
Commissioner Neal.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Capper.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes. So I'm gonna move on to new business. Correct? Yes. First order of business is fiscal year 2018-2019 approved tentative millage rate and ad valorem tax, and fiscal year 2018-2019 tentative budget. Any motion for that?
I'll make a motion, we approve 2018-2019 budget and ad valorem tax.
Second.
And the ad valorem tax being at 1.8000.
1.8000.
Okay, motion and second, any discussion? Mary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Drum?
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Capper?
Yes.
Mayor Henderson?
Yes. Okay, moving on to temporary employment services. This is, Tracy's leaving, so Mary, you want to discuss this?
Yeah, Tracy leaving, the last day will be June 27th, July 27th, I'm sorry. So we're interviewing right now. We had it out on Facebook and on our webpage, and we advertised in the Beach Beacon. And so I've asked Patty to come back, and she's going to help out 10 hours a week through the transition and help with training.
Did you send it out to the Florida League for them to advertise on their website?
Yeah, not to the league's website, I did it to the Florida Association of City Clerks, and on the finance end too, since there's some finance involved, with the FGFOA.
How many applications did you get?
I think we've received about 8 to 9 apps.
Maybe a little, didn't we just get a new one maybe today?
Yeah, I think I'm,
Yeah.
that's a 9.
So we've just started the interview process, so hopefully, like I said, it'll be filled in the timely manner.
And Patty's going to work just a couple days a week, or?
Yeah, Tuesdays and Fridays from 10 to 3.
And basically, that's just to get herself reacclimated with everything so that she can train that new person, because she's been gone for a couple of years now.
We might not have anybody in here before Tracy's
Right.
stage.
Right, gotcha.
But she did say it was like riding a bike. Came right
Good.
back to her.
Who, Patty?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did. All right, moving on to the third item, approving the interlocal agreement with Pinellas County, the preliminary floodplain insurance maps, also known as FIRM.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do you want to talk about it at all?
Yes, so we received the preliminary floodplain insurance rate maps from FEMA. There's a copy of it on the board there. It's also available for review. We're in the process of reviewing that now, as is the county of Pinellas. If there is anything within that report that we feel needs to be appealed or that we want to challenge, the county will do that on our behalf. They'll do that on behalf of all municipalities. This interlocal agreement, just as the preliminary step, needs to be in place first, whether or not we decide after review that there's anything that we need to appeal. There's a document that's attached to the back of that outlines what we expect would be the outside costs, the areas where appeal may be required, and if that's the case, it's about $11,000. And so that's the whole purpose of this. So we may not appeal anything, but if we are going to appeal it, we have to have this interlocal agreement in place first.
Got it.
And the $11,000 we initially put out, and then the county pays us back?
No, the county pays it and we reimburse them.
Okay, that's how it was.
It's our cost.
Okay.
All right, well, we have our motion and second, so Mary, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Drum?
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Capper?
Yes.
Mayor Henderson?
Yes. You have it ready? Okay, we're going to go back up under old business to the Planning and Zoning Board recommendation for 17307 Gulf Boulevard, better known as the Reddington Village, the old wine cellar.
Thank you very much, and thank you for accommodating me. Alan Gorns, my name. The company is AG Development, formed in 1989. My address is 13928 Shady Shores Drive in Tampa, Florida. My address for the office is 13801 North Del Mabry, Suite 200 in Tampa, Florida. We appreciate the chance to be here again with you. It's been, I think the last time we met was Valentine's Day, I believe it was. But anyhow, since that time, we basically have gone back and made some adjustments. We've gone back and worked with the city of Reddington, North Reddington Beach as well. And so we have, as you may have known, not officially, that we have got approval from North Reddington Beach. At this point in time, we've been working with Steve Andrews, your planning director, to bring it back into you to review what we have addressed and proposed and got approved for North Reddington Beach for coordination purposes. And we'd like for you tonight to review what we're doing, and basically we welcome your comments and discussions as we go forth with this project. All right, thank you. With me now is Russell Ottenberg, who's our civil engineer for the record for this project.
Good evening. I apologize for being late and
That's okay.
screwing up your agenda. I have not been sworn, so
Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I didn't know if that had occurred yet. As Alan said, we've made quite a few changes to the site plan since I think you all had last seen it. And the site plan that you see up here is the one that is in for approval. We did have Steve reviewed it, and I'm sure you've seen his list of comments, review comments, and we have actually addressed these. I'd like to go through these item by item with you, if I could. The first is regarding the parking, that there's a total of 76 spaces on the property, or 76 spaces required and 103 total. And Steve had some questions regarding whether or not that was sufficient. Those same questions were brought up by the town of North Reddington Beach at the hearing in which they ultimately approved this. And at that hearing, it was made abundantly clear that we would need to provide the required amount of parking for this particular project. Now, so I know that Alan has been working with some of the tenants, and so what you see on the site plan in terms of which are designated as a restaurant and which are retail and office, that's been changing somewhat. But in any event, when we actually go in for construction plan approval, we're going to be documenting all of the users and what the parking requirements are, and we will be meeting the code. There's just no way around it. We meet it here on this site plan, and we will meet it, excuse me, when we submit those documents. Those construction plans are basically done now, and we're just putting together application packages. And hopefully, if we're successful tonight and you approve this, then we would come back in for a construction plan approval for that small portion that is within Reddington Shores. And kind of backing up a little bit, as Alan said, we've obtained approval from North Reddington Beach for the portion of the project that lies within North Reddington Beach. And so what we're seeking tonight is approval of just the portion of the parking lot that lies within Reddington Shores. Moving on to item 2 in Steve's review, you'll note that there are 2 dumpsters on this plan that are kind of towards the northeast corner of the site within Reddington Beach. I'm sorry, Reddington Shores. And the question was, could those be relocated? And we committed to do that, and we've actually relocated those dumpsters in our construction plans. They are now this area here. So they're completely out of the town of North Reddington Shores, and we've moved them away from the residences. And that was a request by, I cannot for the life of me remember her name, who lives right there at the corner, and so we did relocate those. Steve noted that there's a proposed 8-foot high solid white PVC fence along the portion of the property here that abuts the residential, and there was a question of whether or not we would be providing any type of screening along the northern, the longer length of the northern property line. And again, at both the North Reddington Beach hearing that was approved, and then at the Planning Commission for Reddington Shores, we committed to a 6-foot-high, solid white PVC fence running that entire length. There was a question of, well, could that be a masonry wall? And the answer is no, it cannot be, and there are some very good reasons for that. The first is, we have, because of the way we have to design this site, we have stormwater pipes and inlets running along the northern edge of that property line. And so if we were to try to install a masonry wall there, the footers would interfere with the pipes and the inlets. So there would be a conflict between those two structurally. And the other item is, if we were somehow able to relocate the stormwater and still put in a masonry wall along that northern property line, because it's right up against the property line, we would actually have an eccentric footer. Typically what you have is, if you have a block wall, you have a concentric footer where it's on either side, but since we're right up against the property line, we would have to have an enormous eccentric footer. And that again would interfere with the stormwater and some other issues. That being said, we have included in our construction plans and in the approval that was from North Reddington Beach, and in the recommendation from the Planning Commission, a 6-foot-high solid white PVC fence along that entire length of the property. And you'll note that that is exactly the same fence that the town of North Reddington Beach has along the back of their facility. So we're matching what's back there now.
Is it 6 or 8 back there?
It's 6 back there. Proposing 6 back there and 8 on the
Because
the
Steve,
other
you
side.
said you would like to see an 8-foot fence back there.
That was the proposal from the
Okay.
PNC.
Yeah, the 8-foot fence, we do have an 8-foot fence, and I think that there may be some confusion here. There is an 8-foot fence proposed along here. That was in our original proposal, and we've maintained that. We also discussed again at Planning Commission the curb cut on 174th, and I know that's been a bit of a point of contention. We have redesigned that to be an in only. It is a right in only. The geometry is such that you cannot make a right out and you cannot make a left in. So we'll only be pulling traffic off of Gulf Boulevard. We have arced it, it will be curbed, there will be landscaping behind it, so no one's going to be running over that trying to get into the parking lot here. That's part of our design, it's part of our construction plans. Item 5 in Steve's list is regarding the proposed monument sign at the corner of 174th and Gulf Boulevard. We acknowledge that has to meet the setbacks. That's not questioned whatsoever. There was a question on the proposed Dunkin' Donuts drive-through regarding the where the speaker pedestal is and noise from the speaker pedestal. At the Planning Commission hearing, I introduced evidence regarding the decibel levels for the speaker pedestal, and I'd like to do so again here. Basically, the sound study that, and this is specific to speaker pedestals for drive-through, shows that a couple things. First, as you would imagine, as you move away from the speaker pedestal, the sound level declines. Secondly, the loudest, or the cone of the loudest noise from the speaker is perpendicular to the car, so it's facing the driver, okay? In this case, that speaker pedestal is angled away almost 90 degrees from the residential to the north, so just by that orientation of the speaker pedestal, there's going to be much less noise heading north. If you're 50 or 60 feet away from the speaker pedestal, then that speaker pedestal noise abates down to normal talking level, normal conversation levels. Speaker pedestal is 77 feet from the northern property line, so we exceed that minimum. So the distance, the orientation, the fact that there's going to be buildings and landscaping and a fence in between are all going to abate that noise issue. Additionally, I would submit to you that the traffic on Gulf Boulevard is probably going to suffocate any residual noise that comes out of that speaker pedestal, because that traffic is pretty loud. And if you look at the sound study, you'll see that if you're inside the car in traffic, it's about 85 decibels. It's much higher.
And you can't tell us if that's going to be 24 hours or what the operating hours of that nothing?
Yes, I can,
Okay.
yes. It will not be, it's normal operating hours, and I've checked with the Dunkin' Donuts organization about this, is that they normally will close anywhere between 9 and 10 o'clock at night.
So we feel...
I never agreed to that, okay? I didn't normally agree to that.
So we believe that with the orientation of the speaker and all of the other items, that issue is resolved. Similarly, Steve had some concerns regarding the rooftop deck, which is at the southern end of Building A. Those very similar noise abatement issues are in play here, and in fact, there's actually going to be some screened rooftop equipment that will be between the deck and the residences to the north, so that will also mitigate that particular issue. You all have a sound ordinance. North Reddington Beach has a sound ordinance. Obviously, if they violate the sound ordinance, code enforcement's going to be paying a visit to them. So, that's an additional check on potential sound issues. I'm just going to go back from memory and talk about a couple of things that some of the other residents had questions on. One was regarding drainage on the northern side. One of the residents, a couple of the residents said, well, are you going to be dumping stormwater on our property? And the answer is no. In addition to having a line of inlets and pipe on the Reddington Village side of this project to pick up any stormwater that flows into here, we suspect, based on the topography and some other information we have, that some of the water from the residences actually goes back towards this property line. So on the back side of the curb, we're going to put in some inlets on our property. That's going to pick up any stormwater that does run from these residences into there, and then we're going to pipe it into the system. So we're being very careful with the stormwater in that area to ensure that there's no issues with the residences to the north. The 24-hour question was one of the questions, and I believe that's it. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Do you have a retention pond here?
No, sir, we're not required to. And the reason for that is the wine cellar property has so much impervious surface. And what we're doing here is we're reducing that impervious surface such that we have a net increase in pervious area in green space. And because of the regulations for the Water Management District, DOT, and both towns, that plus the fact that we're actually reducing the pollutant loading and a couple of other things means that we do not have to provide treatment or attenuation. Well, obviously attenuation, because we've got the world's biggest attenuator, the stone's throw away.
make one more comment,
I-
please?
That's okay.
Mayor? Okay. And you raised the subject about should there be an 8-foot fence. I recommend that it not be 8-foot fence, it should be a 6-foot fence. The PVC probably would be a better fence for the neighbors because there'd be less maintenance required for that from the inside and on the resident side. Secondly, is that I've had the personal experience in my younger days where I bought a home that backed up against a highway which wasn't announced, but shame on me, I didn't check it out beforehand, but the highway was put in. And the way to control noises such as that is that not necessarily to raise a fence, but to put soft foliage on it. And so if you had a 6-foot fence in, neighbors got a chance to put trees which has foliage probably in the 6 to 8 foot area, which would be a better sound buffer than a PVC fence is. And I know that from my days, I was a Surgeon Junior Corps officer in the Navy, and one of my jobs was to preserve the noise level of jet air bases. And the way to do that is soft materials, not hard materials. And soft materials, the best thing is vegetation. And that's right. And so I just strongly recommend you not consider the 8-foot fence. It's not a major economical issue here, but I think it'd be in the best interest for the neighbors if they had the 6-foot fence and the ability to have the foliage overlying it. Thank you.
So on the village side of that, the blacktop will pretty much go up to the property line, correct? And then the fence will be on the property line, your property line?
Yes. Yes.
So they would have to plant on their property line to put something in? Okay. Thanks.
Your presentation is done, so.
No, I'll say something.
Open it for public comment.
Yes, I'm now open for public comment. Chief Hughes?
And if anyone is going to speak, we could swear everyone in at the same time, if anyone has any other comments they want to make. If not, we'll just swear in Chief Hughes.
Okay, you can swear me in?
Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I just wanted to raise a question that the state law on noise, particularly the boom boom box, was declared unconstitutional. Indian Shores, our ordinance has been declared constitutional through the constitutionality test. I don't know, we had a question raised for Remington Shores where they challenged the constitutionality of it. Has that gone through?
I don't recall in my time if we've had it challenged and upheld. I think that it's been upheld in the past, but I'd have to double check that.
I know it was challenged about 3 to 4 months ago, and I never heard back if that went through.
It never went anywhere, so
Oh, okay.
no holding ever was issued on that.
Okay, well, I'd just like to raise the question that, make sure that you have an ordinance on this, because I've been through many a drive-through, and just people waiting in line will have their stereos turned up, the boom boom box is disturbing the neighbors, since it's primarily a residential area. So I just want to caution, make sure that your ordinances are up to effect and enforceable. Okay, right, thank you.
Nobody else? Closed now, so I'm gonna need some sort of motion.
Make a motion, we approve the site plan as with Mr. Andrews' exception.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? I kind of would like the 8-foot fence, personally. I just think those neighbors that live right there, 6 feet is not very high like that, to have businesses right there. I'm not sure how you guys feel, it's just.
It's on the paper, right, Mr. Andrews putting on their 8-foot fence?
I think maybe the motion should be clarified to make sure that you specify exactly what
I'd like to
you
amend
would
my
like
motion to make
require.
it, approve it with the 8-foot fence.
On the second, I'm gonna do that. I just feel like I would not want that in my yard unless I had a pretty decent, substantial fence. So, thinking about myself.
So does he need a second?
Yes.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. Any further discussion on this?
So the recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Board, there was a motion to approve it with the moving of the dumpsters, which they did, and a 6-foot solid white PVC fence along the back edge of the development. What we're saying in this motion is that, yeah, it's fine with the the relocation of those dumpsters, but we want the 6-foot or 8-foot.
Instead of
fence.
6 feet, that's the difference pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
And everything that he, has promised to do. Anything else? Mary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Drummond?
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Capper?
Yes.
Mayor Henderson?
Yes. All right, I'm gonna open it up to any public comments for anybody about anything. Thank you. All right, well, any miscellaneous, anything? All right. Next. Whoa, I knew it. We're not gonna get off that easily.
We have copies of the sewer videos, if anybody wants to take a look at them. We got a few hours worth.
Did you put up to music?
You can put on some Led Zeppelin or something.
I'd love to watch it.
That sounds great.
See all the roads
Sorry, I had to bring it up.
That's all right. All right, so our next meeting will be the workshop meeting Wednesday, July 25th, 2018, 6 PM, and the next regular meeting Wednesday, August 8th, 6 PM. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Oh, my God.